Political influence aside, judges may give unsound decisions in election cases for two other reasons. The first reason is insufficient knowledge of elections. Judges are not necessarily experts in elections, and they may sometimes give judgments in election cases without realizing the full implications for the entire electoral process. This is often seen in injunctions and consequential orders. For example, a judge once placed an injunction on holding the district level elections when some candidates went to his court complaining that there had been no voter education at all in their areas. The areas comprised only 6 electoral areas out of thousands of such areas in the entire country. But the injunction unwittingly covered the whole country. So if that held, means we couldn't hold the elections. We have how many? I don't want to give you a number, but there are thousands of electoral areas. And we complain about 6, and we put an injunction on the entire election, thousands of them. The second reason for unsound judgment is what may be characterized as the lack of purposive interpretation of the law in full-blown election petitions. I'd like to spend a bit of time on this because this is not as self-explanatory as the previous one. To start with, let me give an example of what I consider to have been a purposive interpretation of the law when I was at the Electoral Commission. A Ghanaian citizen then living abroad once walked to the Commission's head office and said he wanted to register as a voter so that he could vote in an election due to be held in about 2 months' time. It was explained to him that voter registration officially closed more than a month back, so he would have to wait till the next registration period. Not satisfied, he took the commission to court, and the court ruled that under our Constitution, the right to register to vote is a fundamental right, and it is not within the remit of the Electoral Commission to decide when citizens will enjoy their fundamental rights. I described that decision as purposive because it was directed at achieving 2 goals, both of which were consistent with the principles of electoral justice. The first goal was to preserve a citizen's right to register at a time of his or her choice, since registration or voting is not compulsory in Ghana. Registration is not compulsory. Voting is not compulsory. So the citizen maybe initially didn't see the reason why vote. All of a sudden, he said, hey, now maybe he should be able to register. This is what the judge was telling us. So it was to preserve that right of the citizen. It is important to note that in principle, the decision imposed on the Electoral Commission is many years back. A duty beyond the traditional conception of continuous registration to voter registration every working day. That's what it meant. The citizen had a right to be registered every working day. That's what the judge was saying. So continuous registration did not begin yesterday. That decision imposed on us. The traditional conception of the continuous registration is that you register this time, you keep the names, you register next time, you add them to the old one. You register next time, you add them, you pile on. But they don't have to be done every working day. You can do them at set periods and put them together. And that was a traditional conception. This decision imposed on the Commission that every working day, if a citizen comes, must be registered. Of course, at that time, in deference to the court, we registered the person, but we kept our mouths shut because we did not have the wherewithal to implement the decision, on a full scale. If people had known that we had registered that person, maybe the following day, people would come, and people would be coming until a day before election day. Right? So we registered the person, but we kept. I think 2 other people came, and we registered them quietly. Quietly, yes. Anyway, in essence, the second goal of the decision was to tell the Commission to establish a cutoff point of voter registration if continuous registration would cause problems for its work. A cutoff point means that you can place your name in the voter registration database after the cutoff point. But in order not to disrupt the preparations of the Electoral Commission, you cannot vote in the impending election. You can only vote in subsequent elections. The EC thereafter established a voter registration cutoff point by law. At that time, we had not established a cutoff point by law. But once we've established a cutoff point by law, now, if you came and you said you wanted to register and you came after we had cut off, then we will add your name to the database, but you cannot vote in the independent election. I understand that the Commission now has the capacity to do every working day registration of voters in its district offices.